Now, the monorail, we talked about it earlier for those who weren't here while we were waiting for the brothers and sisters. They have 20,000 Chinese there building this thing. So last year they actually finished part of it. And this is what it looks like. It's actually a train. It's actually a train, electric train. And basically, it's going from one station to the other. This is the plan. It's not very clear, but to give you an idea, they have certain routes for it. So if our camp is going to be on the route of a station, then it will be convenient for us. But if our camp is still further away, then we won't benefit from the train. But then what helps is that if there's more people, less cars in general off the road from these, then for the others it's sort of an effect on that. It's easier. That's the goal of it. Alright? So I think this year they may have further, and when I was there in April, they were still busy extending the train. The funny thing is, last year when the train opened, they announced that the train's open and you can buy tickets. But you can only buy a weekly ticket. You can only buy a 7-day ticket. Because you only need it for 3 days, but you could only buy a 7-day ticket.
So what then? Are there Saudi people?
Yeah, the Saudi authorities.
But the other people can't.
No, for those who want to use it,
But
you could only buy a 7-day
I
ticket.
can't use it.
Yeah, so you don't have to buy. But if I was in the Saudi camp, I wanted to buy a ticket for the train, I could only buy a 7-day ticket. You want to ask why? Don't. I don't know why. Don't have the answer. It's just maybe somebody decided it was a good idea. A weekly ticket. Maybe somebody told them in the West they sell weekly tickets.
But I heard that the person who can buy should be Saudi or Arabian or people of the Arabian Peninsula, but not the other people.
Yeah, that was last year. Maybe this year they might allow us to buy.
You don't have any information.
It depends. For instance, if you were in the camp, it depends what camp you were in. It was the camp, it's not so much that it was Saudis, because I have some friends that's from Australia who live in Jeddah who went on Hajj in the Saudi camps, and they bought tickets. So it was to show which camp you are in. Because if you were in the Australian camp, the train would have been no benefit to you. Right?
So each year the camp is the same location for Australia, or?
Yes. The camp in Australia has been like this for the last 20 years. 1 hour away from the Jamarat. So who's from South Africa here? Anybody from South Africa? South Africa. Because there's the South Africans, I can joke. From South Africa? You're going with them again? Alright. So I can joke about the South Africans because I'm originally from South Africa, so I can joke about the South Africans. Anyway, the South Africans stay the closest to the Jamarat. They are actually right next to the Jamarat, and they always brag about being next to the Jamarat. And the Australians are the furthest from the Jamarat, and I say to them, the reason they put you next to the Jamarat is because they want you to be close to your friend. Get it? No? Alright. And they don't like that joke, but anyway. So the Australians are too far away because they're too argumentative. They just want to argue with the shaitan all the time. So they put them far away. It is just the way the structure of the Hajj ministries are. And the Australians, for some reason, the English, the British, Australia, Canada, are all the European camps. We are classified as European. Do I look European to you? But we are classified as European. So, as a matter of fact, when I worked in Saudi, they never knew what to do with Australia. They didn't even know Australia existed. I'll tell you how I got the job in Saudi. There was a year when Telstra won a tender in Saudi Arabia. Telstra won a tender to do some telephone things in Saudi Arabia. And then they said, Australia? Where the hell is Australia? How can they win this? Do they have people that know what to do? And that's how we came on the map in Saudi Arabia. So when we got there, they didn't even know what classification we were. So we were either going to be third world country or European. So they chose European for us, which was better than being third world country. Alright, Arafah before Hajj. Just some pictures on Arafah. For anybody been on a camel before? So if you want to go on a camel ride, there's your opportunity. Take a photo on the camel. We had some funny incident last year. the sister sitting on the camel, and suddenly we just hear the screams, and the camel started running with the sister on it. And she's trying to jump off. I said, sister, running next to the camel, said, don't jump off, just stay on there. And she's screaming. And the guy's trying to hold the camel. So if you've never been on a camel, you better hold on when the camel goes down, because the camel bends down forward, and you'll come head down first if you don't hold on. So that's another tip if you're going to take photos in camera. So this is the Jabal Rahmah. And this pillar, this stone thing there is on the top of Jabal Rahmah. What is the significance of that thing on there? Pardon? This is the place where it says Allah forgave Adam and Hawa on this area. That's why it's called Jabal Rahmah. But this pillar here is only to signify that this is Jabal Rahmah. It has no significance. When we went for Hajj last year, if we had more time I can show you the video. We took a whole video of this scenario. We climbed up there, and the people up there were doing all sorts of funny things. They were dancing around it and writing on it. And they actually, this is the first time I went there during the Hajj to actually went to the top. And what happens is, because of the Adam Hawa story there, people are writing love letters and drawing hearts and stuff and putting it up there and all funny stuff. So I don't want you to go and see, when I go there, I don't want you to write there, Saeed from Brisbane was here 2011. Alright, so there's graffiti and everything on there. So what do we do when we go there on the ziyarah? Absolutely nothing. Just by saying, okay, this is where Arafah is, okay? Okay, who's afraid of crowds? Nobody? Good. Because there's nobody that's afraid of crowds. Because if you were, there's nothing we can do. So I'm going to give you some pictures of crowds, just to give you a feel of the number of people that's there. That's people. Traffic. Now I know you guys aren't from Sydney, but in Sydney the traffic's really bad. So if you think the traffic's bad in Sydney, have a look at that. And that happens year after year, especially in the front camps. Now the fortunate thing, that the disadvantage we have about the Australian camp being that far, the advantage we have, has its own roads that go that way. So the European camp has shuttle buses that goes back and forth between Muzdalifah and Arafah and just loops around like that, and it doesn't see any of this. It's got its own special roads that leads to that area of the camps. Oh, got it there again. Am I going backward? Arafah during Hajj. Umbrella, don't forget your umbrella. Now in Arafah, brothers and sisters, you get the canvas tents. You're going to get those tents. Okay? And the tents all look the same. Did they advertise air conditioning in Arafah? Did you ask them? You should ask them. Say, do I get for my $7,000 air conditioning in Arafah?
I think they do.
They do?
They do.
You had last year?
Yeah.
You had air conditioning? Oh, you were the South Africans, Habibi. Yeah.
No, I was with Australia.
Australians? Oh. The South Africans have double beds. They have dinners. They have buffets. They have taken Bina to another standard, and they call it special services. So if you want to go with them and go and enjoy some good food, that's where you go. Anyway, in Arafah, there's no guarantee every year whether you're going to get air conditioning or not. And air conditioning there means desert coolers. It's this gadget that they throw water in that blows this cool air. So most of the time in Arafah, it depends where the location is, and Arafah is extremely hot. I have not come across in my time in Hajj where Arafah wasn't hot. No matter what time of the year it was, Arafah is always a hot day. The key to that is because on the day of Qiyamah, the sun will be 1 mile from our heads. So there is the closest time you're ever going to get to, like we're going to be in the day of Qiyamah. We're all in the same clothes, standing in front of Allah, as if we will be on the day of Qiyamah. We'll be standing in front of Allah, where our deeds will be read for us. Arafah is like that. Other reason, maybe it's hot. It's not a picnic. It's not a day to have leisure or whatever. It is a day of ibadah, supplication. We'll talk a bit more about that later. But that's the purpose of Arafah. However, late in the afternoon, there's always this beautiful cool breeze that comes across the plains of Arafah. And if you stand outside, you can actually feel the presence of Allah. You can actually feel. Now, we're in Ramadan. Last 10 days of Ramadan is coming up. Prophet ﷺ said, seek the night of Qadr in the last 10 days. 99% of us turn up on 27th night. Listen to a bit of lecture. Go home. Have a sleep. Do you think you got Laylatul Qadr? No chance. Absolutely no chance. Prophet ﷺ said, seek it in the last 10 nights. So if you're not going to come and be in iktikaf, or at least spend the night in ibadah, in any of those last 10 nights, chances of you catching Laylatul Qadr is very minimal. Same with Arafah. If you're going to sleep that afternoon, relax, eat, talk, all of that, you will miss the benefit of Arafah. You will miss that, and we'll talk about that a bit later, inshallah. So Nafra, this is when we leave from Arafat to Muzdalifah. Look at the people. How easy it is to lose somebody there. Maybe you want to lose somebody there. You want to lose somebody there? As a matter of fact, if you're walking and you just turn your head and you look forward, your group's gone. So you have to hold on. Muzdalifah. This is another place mentioned in the Quran. Allah says, and when you go from Arafah, remember Allah at Mashar al-Haram. Where's Mashar al-Haram? That's it. The mosque in Muzdalifah is referred to as Mashar al-Haram. In Muzdalifah. So this is a beautiful night in Muzdalifah. Who likes camping? Who doesn't like camping? Who's been camping? Do people in Brisbane camp? Okay. Camping? You like camping? Good, you like this. Who doesn't like camping? Who has never slept in a sleeping bag? Oh, slept in a sleeping bag? Yes? No? Who's awake? Alright, ladies, these guys are all sleeping. This is a night camping. Have you ever slept on the ground? In the car park? Floodlights? Buses? 2 million people? That's for you. Now, do you have to take a sleeping bag, yes or no? The answer is yes. Take a sleeping bag. Last year they actually gave us sleeping bags, so everyone had extra sleeping bags. So maybe wait 2 years and then you can buy them there. But if you have a sleeping bag, take it with you. The reason for the sleeping bag is a couple of reasons. One, if it gets cold, you're covered. If it's not cold, you can sleep on top of it. However, for the sisters and for the brothers, because the brothers are dressed like sisters. Right? When was the last time you had a piece of cloth around you with no underwear? So you can't sleep anywhere you want. So to give yourself some privacy, especially for the sisters, it's best to sleep inside the sleeping bag. So if in the sleeping bag, you can move around and twist and toss and turn and snore this way, and then your wife elbows you and you snore that way again. So it gives you some privacy. The sleeping bag is actually more convenient at that time for a matter of privacy in Muzdalifah. Now look at that. That's where you're going to sleep, brothers and sisters. Have a look. This is the sleeping area. What's that over there? Toilet. The toilets. So, show you another picture. So, does she look like she's awake? She's sleeping, right? So when you get to Muzdalifah, brothers and sisters, when you are lining yourselves up, if you're with your wife, make sure your wife sleeps next to you. Put another sister there and then a husband, and make sure. But please, brothers and sisters, if you come early to Muzdalifah, and there's plenty of space, don't think that you've got all of this beautiful space and you're going to stretch yourself out. Every year I have fun with this because I watch the people, they don't listen. I say, please brothers, move up, be close, make sure there's no gap. Because I can guarantee you, whatever gap you have, there's going to be somebody there in the morning. And the people who take that gap, they don't check whether they'll fit in that gap. They don't just still measure up, am I going to fit there? No, they just go smack bang there in between you. So if you don't want somebody else to sleep next to your wife, you better make sure you're close enough. Or sometimes what we do, we actually put the sisters together and then the brothers together. So it's up to you what your group does. But that's what happens in Muzdalifah. It is one of the most beautiful nights in the world. Because what does it do to us, brothers and sisters? It takes us to a level we've never been. We've just come from Arafah, the highest level of spirituality. Now Allah takes you right down to the ground. No matter how much you earn, no matter who you are, how important you think you are, how important you actually are, we're all on the ground. We're all on the ground. So this is a lesson for us. This is a lesson for us who we really are in the sight of Allah. But the most beautiful thing there is people say, how am I going to sleep? I have trouble sleeping at home with the lights on. But believe me, here you sleep like a newborn child. Because you just come. And if you've made your tawbah properly, you will be like a newborn child here. And that's why people sleep there. Every year people say, I'm not going to sleep, Brother Ismail, I'm not going to sleep. Guaranteed. But people sleep. So be ready for a nice sleep in there. So there we are. There's the Muzdalifah Hilton. So what happens is, every year I go, I take my Muzdalifah Hilton tent with me, and then my wife throws me out. She says, you sleep outside, you snore too much. So that's what I get. Okay, so you can take some of these tents if you want privacy, but it just means you have to carry more things. The signs for the camps. So the Australians are in the red camp. Okay, it's called the red area, where the signs are all red and the colors are red, and it has a number on the yellow part and the red part. So as soon as you get to your camp, you need to look at the number. So if you get lost, you can tell somebody where you are, or you can look for the number. Right? So brothers and sisters, if you're lost, you call somebody, you say, I'm at 42/5, wait there. What the brothers do, they call me, they say, Brother Ismail, I'm lost. Okay, tell me where you are, what's the color? Oh, it's blue, whatever number. But wait there. So I come there, there's nobody there. Call him up, where did you go? Oh, I walked up to another place, I'm looking for you. So if you are lost, please stay in the place. The good news is the signs are there, the numbers are there. The bad news is they don't go in sequence necessarily. The numbers. Yeah. Don't ask. Why? See, there's so many things. That's why we say to don't ask why, because we don't know the answer. Alright, Medina. How many of you guys, I know there's the GFCFC, the share markets collapsed and all of this stuff. How many guys are stressed out? Now in Ramadan you shouldn't be stressed out, but if you're stressed out, you feel you need some stress, de-stress, there is no place like Medina. What happened in Medina? Sisters, what happened in Medina? These guys are fast asleep over here. Migration. This is the city, Medina al-Munawwara, the city of our beloved Prophet ﷺ, the city of light. This is the city that took in our beloved Prophet ﷺ. When Ibrahim left Hajj, and after he turned to Allah and made a supplication. He asked Allah to bless this area, to always have provision, to give them provision, and for this area to always have provision. Which means Makkah will always have food and water, no matter what. This is Ibrahim's dua. When Prophet ﷺ made dua for Medina, what was his dua? For Allah to bless Medina twice as much as Makkah. That was his dua for Medina. So you are in two blessed cities, brothers and sisters. Two cities, no matter what anybody can say to you, you can't match this journey. In value, spiritual value or any money is worth. It's not worth any cent that you paid for. It is 3 times that money worth. There's no money you can put on this journey. No monetary value you can put on this journey. So don't ever think you've paid too much, or whatever. Don't complain about the money you've paid. This journey is worth 10 times that if you get there. So Medina is the city of our beloved Prophet ﷺ, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. One of the most beautiful cities in the world. What is special about Medina? Who can tell me?
Dates.
The dates, but the city itself. Like if you go to Brisbane, Gold Coast, everybody talks. When people talks about Gold Coast, you have a vision. When you guys think about Sydney, you say, "Oh, those Sydney-siders," whatever. You have this vision. We all agree on Melbourne, right? Okay. But Medina, you cannot put it in words. There's nothing you can touch or feel that I can say to you. But the city itself is special. The city itself, I've never come across one person that said they don't like Medina. There is just something unique and special about the city. When we went now for Umrah in Medina, when we left, this is the first time I actually see people crying leaving Medina. People actually crying just from leaving Medina. That's how special and beautiful the city is. So here's some pictures of Medina. We photoshopped that rainbow. This is the Haram of Medina, and if you can see, can you see these black? These are the ladies sections where in Medina it is much more organized than Makkah. There's special doors for ladies and the men, and like this whole section here is for the ladies, and for the men is all on a different side. So you can actually walk from the hotel, even though it's right opposite the door. To walk to the front of the mosque can take you up to 10 minutes. Because you have to walk all the way around, and there's very long walk to walk inside to the Haram. So one of the best things, another tip is if you're going with your wife, always to say to meet you back in the hotel room. Because the wife comes out, she comes straight out here and waits for you here, and 10-15 minutes later, you're still straggling out there, and she goes, "Where have you been? You're waiting for you all afternoon. What do you think, I've got all day?" And then say, "Okay, darling, just take it easy." So you meet back in the room is best, so that you don't stress out, or they don't stress you out. Especially in Medina, because actually sometimes the sisters even struggle to come out. Now in Medina, they finally finished all of these umbrellas. They have these umbrellas that actually goes open and close like that. Each umbrella costs $1 million. But if you see it, you'll see how beautiful it is. It's a German Muslim engineer that designed it. And you can see just how it opens and it fits into each other. It's just so beautiful. And they've built it, they've erected it right around the Haram in Medina. Just to give it more space when it's hot, the umbrellas go up. So last year was the first year that it's all completed. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. At night, during Hajj time, like 10 o'clock at night or so, just take a walk around Medina. Just take a walk around the Haram area. When was the last time you took a romantic stroll with your wife? Huh? Come on, guys. Here's your chance. Remember, the Prophet ﷺ was one of the most romantic husbands. So there's nothing wrong in being romantic, guys. So what we do, you just take a walk around the Haram at night. It is just so beautiful and peaceful. Just so beautiful and peaceful. Just to sit there. I was actually sitting there, now when in Umrah, I was sitting on the outside there, and I was just sitting there and observing people, and it was amazing how many people came past that I knew. It was just, you'll be amazed who you meet there. Like people from your school, or from Brisbane, or wherever you know. It's just amazing during Hajj where you meet people. I've met friends that I haven't seen for years at the Jamarat. So it's actually quite amazing. This is the grave of the Prophet. You saw that green dome? The grave is actually below that green dome. Who can tell me why is the dome green? Islamic color? Color of heaven. Oh, mashallah, that's a good one. First time I hear that one. It was white ones? Why is the dome green, sisters? Somebody painted it green. But there was actually, can you believe, in the time, many years ago, there was actually a fight over the color of the dome. One of the sultans almost wanted to kill somebody because they wanted to change the color of the dome. So if you wanted to change the color of the dome now, people will kill, because some people think it's from Jannah, some people think it's a Muslim color. It's just green. And the Prophet ﷺ's grave is below it. The reason I tell you these things is because you'll find people argue about these things during Hajj. They talk about this, oh, they wanted to change this. Some people say there's a guy who wanted to change it, stuck on there. Stuck on top of the dome. These are funny stories. So behind these gates are the graves of who? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Who's next to him? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and then Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Who was supposed to be next to him? Aisha radiallahu anha was supposed to be in the place of Umar Khattab. So why was Umar buried there instead of Aisha? Yeah, look at the story, brothers and sisters. The reason I'm giving you some of this stuff is when you're there, you need to understand, go back into the history. Our history is so beautiful. When Umar Khattab was on his deathbed, he sent his son Abdullah. He said, I'm sending you as Umar, not as the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Go and ask Aisha radiallahu anha for permission to be buried next to the beloved Prophet ﷺ. And I'm sending you as a person, not as the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Meaning I'm not instructing you or forcing you, but go and ask her for permission for me to be buried next to the Prophet ﷺ. What did Aisha say? She gave permission, but what did she say later? She regretted that decision. She said, if I knew, she regretted the decision of giving Umar the permission to be buried there. But that's how it is. He is buried there, and it's behind those things. Now sisters, you won't actually see this. The only time you're out in is in the back side of this, so you won't see this gate. Doesn't really matter, it's just a gate. We don't see anything. We don't see any more than you do. Because nothing you can see behind there. Okay? So some of the sisters come and they complain, oh, they won't let us to the front. There's absolutely nothing to see. So the Prophet ﷺ is buried, the first one, then Abu Bakr, and then Umar. Where exactly they are doesn't really matter, brothers. We just need to know what we do there. Where is this? This is Jannatul Baqi. This is the grave of where the Prophet ﷺ's family, where Aisha, Fatima, his daughters, the companions are all buried.
Can I ask you one question? But as far as I think there's another empty space in the grave.
Whether Isa is going to be buried there.
Yes, I don't know.
There's difference. Well, this is the discussion. Whether some say there's an empty space. Isa is going to be buried there. Nabi Isa rahmatullah is going to be buried there. This is another discussion. So in here, if Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to visit the graveyard, right? So your mind is of death. Now, if you go to the graveyards here in Australia, for that matter, or any other country for that matter, when you go to the graveyard, does it remind you really of death? Does it give you that feeling of death? Not really, does it? Go in here. Go into General Baqi and you can actually feel death. The weight, because there's no stones, there's just these stones there and it is vast. And you can actually, that's when you can feel what the hadith actually means. Visit the graveyards so you can remind you of death. And that is one graveyard that truly reminds you where you're going. So if you get a chance, Quba Mosque. This is what happened at Quba Mosque. This is the first mosque built in Islam. This mosque was built before Prophet ﷺ's actual mosque. This was the first mosque built, Quba. Qiblatain Mosque, the mosque where the two Qiblas is in. Some scholars say it's actually in Quba Mosque. But anyway, let's Uhud. What happened at Uhud? The Battle of Uhud. So This is the mountain where the archers stood on. You know the story? Where the archers stood on, and the archers that the Prophet ﷺ instructed them to stay there. And who was the commander of the non-Muslims army who actually saw that the archers left? Khalid ibn Walid. He is the most successful army commander in history. And he always prayed to die in the battlefield. Where did he die? In his bed. If you learn the story of Khalid ibn Walid, it's a beautiful story. Beautiful story. But Khalid ibn Walid was so smart, he came back in with the archers. There's actually a leadership, management skills in learning the story of what happened here, of not following the instruction of the Prophet ﷺ. So I want to show you something about the Uhud. Sisters, I want you to pay special attention. See the size of this mountain? It is huge. Alright sisters, when was the last time, if ever, that you prayed Salatul Janazah? Have you ever prayed Salatul Janazah? You have? No? Most sisters haven't. And some sisters who say yes, probably a long time ago. During Hajj, there is a Janazah almost after every Salah. Last year, actually during the Umrah trip now in April, we were there for 2 weeks. Only 2 Salahs out of the 14 days we were there didn't have a Janazah. And on one night we counted 11 Janazahs, 11 bodies. In Hajj it's even more than that. One time there was over 20 bodies in one Janazah time. So after every Salah, almost after every Salah, there's a Janazah prayer. So brothers and sisters, you are encouraged and allowed to pray the Janazah Salah. And more encouragement for you is, the Prophet ﷺ said, the reward of praying the Janazah Salah is the size of the mountain of Uhud. So every time you miss the Janazah Salah intentionally, by making dhikr or making sunnah salah, you've missed the reward of that entire mountain there. Imagine I gave you a bag of gold that big. So sisters, if you want the reward, learn how to perform Janazah Salah, and please pray the Janazah Salah. Don't get up to make your sunnah prayer immediately after Salah, because sometimes it's a few minutes before they announce the Janazah, you're making sunnah, and where you missed all of that reward. So keep that in mind. What is the reward for praying one Salah in Makkah? 100,000 times. For 1 day is 500,000. 1 day is 500,000. 1 day. 1 day in Makkah is 500,000. And who's going on the short package? See, 500,000 people still go on the short package. People say, oh, 4 weeks is too long. 4 weeks is too long. I offer you 500,000 minimum a day, Allah offers you. So, I need to work, my surgery, my work, I can't go. And then as soon as you sign up short package, they say, can you book me 2 weeks to Pakistan, 2 weeks to Lebanon, 2 weeks to Bangladesh. So it's not time. It's not time. It's just that people don't understand the value. We counted when we were there. I had some young teenagers with me during the Umrah. I made them count. We count sort of the rewards. We don't know how much we got from it, but to count the number of days we were there. So in Medina, let's take it from top down. Fajr. What is the reward for the Sunnah for Fajr? The Sunnah for Fajr. Prophet ﷺ said the reward for the Sunnah Salah for Fajr is more than the world and what it contains. More in the world and what it contains. So Fajr Sunnah, and then the Farz Salah. It's 1,000 times than any other mosque, right? So Farz Salah, it is times 27, times 10, times 27. So that's 10 for normal in Karabi, right? But in Jama'at times 27, that's 270 times 1,000, 270,000. Then we get the Janazah after that, whole mountain of Uhud. That's only for Fajr. That's only in Medina. Only one Salah. Then we get Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. 1 day. How much is that? Then we go to Makkah. So there's 10 times 27 times 100,000. Why would you go for a short time? If I told you that, put that in dollar value, if I put that in dollar value, then it will make sense to us, right? So that's why the longer you go, the more reward you're going to get. How do you know you're going to get another chance to go? What time did they make Asr?
4 o'clock.
Okay, so that was at Uhud, the grave of Hamza is there. What's the story of Hamza? The uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, Hamza radiallahu anhu, died at Uhud. So his grave is there as well. Okay, so shopping, all sorts of shopping. Who's not shopping? Shopping? How much money? People always ask me, how much money shall I take? I said, is your wife going with you? Because that makes a big difference. Right? But, if you're like me, I like shopping as well. Everybody shops. Every year we have to send boxes and boxes of cargo. So there's all sorts of beautiful shopping. That guy's happy, the shopkeeper's happy. He thinks he's got a bargain, he knows he didn't get a bargain. It's all sorts of good stuff there. So the thobes, if you want to buy thobes and stuff, there's the place to buy it. Because what it is in dollars, it's in riyals there. So the dollar at the moment is 4 riyals per dollar. So for $1,000 spending is 4,000 riyals. You can shop till you drop. This is Jeddah, the Hajj terminal. This is what I was talking about when we started. When we get here to the Hajj terminal, you need to relax. You need to chill out. Don't ask me how long. Don't ask me why. You see this lady laying on the bench here? That's my wife. She doesn't even ask me how long, how why. She just gets to Jeddah, gets herself her eye things, and throws herself on the bench. Sleep. Because it takes from 1 hour to 10 hours to get you out from Jeddah airport. The quickest we've done it so far has been 6 hours. If you arrive in Medina, it has its advantages, but it also has its disadvantages. So, last year the group went to Medina first. They were actually for the Umrah group, because Emirates is the only airline allowed to fly straight into Medina. Its advantage, if it all falls into place. Now for the Umrah this year, we went straight to Makkah, got in the bus to Jeddah, got in the bus, went to Medina. The other group came by plane on Emirates straight to Medina. The first time, and I don't know how many years, there's a sandstorm in Medina. So the planes couldn't leave Dubai. So 2 days later they had to leave Dubai to fly to Medina. The Saudis at any time can change their mind about giving permission for the plane to land in Medina. Okay, having said that, if you get lucky and everybody going to Medina, it's much easier to land straight into Medina. But then for us who need to get the passports, it's a bigger nightmare, because Medina is not completely set up. I want to show you this bag here. You see this bag here? What's that in there? That's your passport. This is the bus, that's the bag, and that's your passports. So as soon as we get to Jeddah airport, we will take your passport from you, and you will not see it again until you leave. And you will see the bus driver walking around either with a plastic bag or this kind of bag with the passports in. And you just go, Ya Allah, please don't lose my passport, please don't lose my passport. So one of the du'as you need to make at Arafah, please don't lose my passport. So alhamdulillah, until now they haven't lost any passports, but it's just amazing to watch how these guys operate with these passports. And if you have a brand new passport, it says that and you really like it, you have a look at it, rub it, feel it before you give it to us at the airport. Because when you get it back, it's going to be full of staples and full of stickers. I should have brought my passport to show you. They have these stickers. I don't know why they don't make the sticker the size of the passport, right? The sticker is almost twice the page, so they stick it over 2 pages. And then there's 2 stickers. And then they staple your photos to it and all of this. So by the way, brothers, just to mention, I think this is real. Your passport must have 4. The previous year was 2, last year was 4, maybe this year 6 empty consecutive pages in the passport. So if you're a frequent traveler, if you don't have 4 consecutive empty pages in your passport, you better renew your passport. And your passport must have a validity for more than 6 months to a year from the time you arrive in Saudi. So if you're going to arrive in Saudi, say middle of October, it must be your validity must be till June at least of 2012. Okay, brother program, don't move from your seat, it won't be so long. Remember? Told you? See that before? So when you get to that sign, just relax, smile, take it easy. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's long. Okay, so why are you going? Why are you going? Don't know? To ask for forgiveness. Why are you going, sir? To become a better Muslim?
Under obligation.
Under obligation. Alright, so most people give an answer that it is the 5th pillar of Islam. That's why they're going. Is that why you're going? That's why you're going, sister? Alright. A lot of people actually, we have quite a lot of that. Oh, brother, can you talk to my husband? He's not ready. I want to go, but he doesn't want to go. Whack him against the head, he'll be right. Sometimes it's the wife that's not ready to go. So some are just going because the other one's going. And we have quite a lot of that, believe it or not. We have a lot of people that the one's going because the other one's going. Some people have nothing to do. Imagine you get to a point where you have nothing to do, you're just chilling out, I'll go for Hajj. Alhamdulillah. Now you can actually strive to that. That's an ambition you can have. That by the time you retire, you can have, mashallah, so much money and whatever, you can just say, I'll go for Hajj. Because business is running good, whatever, alhamdulillah. You have an opportunity to ask for it there. Some people are not sure why they're going. They don't really know why they're going. You one of those? Or the brother put up his hand? Did you put up your hand? No? You know when they do an auction at the dinners? You don't do that. You know, like when they do an auction at a dinner?
No, I don't.
We were at a fundraising dinner the other night, and our sheikh came in late. And he came to sit in the front, and they were auctioning this chocolate bar. And it was already at $10,000. Right? And the chef, he wasn't paying attention to what was going on. He just came to sit down and he started eating, and brothers were greeting him, and he was just going, Assalamu alaikum. And they go, 10,500. And the chef goes, No, I was just greeting the brother. So as the brother sat there, he doesn't know why he's going, he just put up his hand. So you're not sure why you're going. Some people want to be called a Hajj. Yes, brother.
Going is my decision, or Allah has decided for me this.
It's your decision. If I invite you to my house for dinner, I invite you tonight for iftar. Say, brother, come and have iftar at my house. I invited you. Whose decision it is to go or not? Your decision, right? Same with Hajj. Allah has invited all of us. So we make that decision to go or not. Whether you get there or not is with Allah. But if you made the decision sincerely that I'm going, you die before that, or something happens to you. Let's say you ultimately decided, I'm sincerely going. Right? You've got your 7,000 in your pocket, you're going over to Labbaik or wherever to pay them, you get robbed. Some criminal comes around and steals your 7,000 from you. So now you can't go. You saved for 10 years this $7,000. What's the story now? Wallahi, if you made that intention sincerely, you could go, you could be here and not even gone and be bigger reward than people who have gone. So you have to make that step, you have to make that effort, you have to make the plan, otherwise it ain't gonna happen. If you say, I'll wait for Allah, it's up to Allah, Allah knows when I want to go, stuff like this. If you take the analogy, some people actually don't make dua because they say, Allah knows what I want. Allah knows what I want. Why do I have to ask? Let's think about it for a moment. Who has children? Now, if you have children and the kids, you know that the children want certain things and stuff like this, but they never ask you. They have the attitude, Dad knows what I want, he'll buy it for me anyway. How will you feel? Do you feel that they're arrogant? Do you feel that they just take it for granted? Because they're not asking, say, Dad, please, can I have something? You know, sometimes you want the kids to beg so that you can feel like they can sort of deserve it, right? So if you want to have that attitude, Allah says you must ask and beg from Allah. So even after you've made a decision, what you've got to do is continuously make your dua in this Ramadan for Allah to give you the health and strength to actually be there. Remember in the year of the fire, it was the 8th of the Hajj. We were in Medina already. People died and didn't make it to Arafah. Now for them, it's different. But there were many people on that 8th of the Hajj, it was so traumatic for them, they went back home. The people, we were in a group from Jeddah, a lot of the people in the group went back to Jeddah. So close and yet so far. So don't assume that you're going to be there. That's why we stress out as group leaders, we only relax once we've taken you to Arafah. Once we're in Arafah, you'll see we're a bit more relaxed now. Because now we've fulfilled the duty that you paid for. Is to get you to Arafah. Who wants to go for this reason? To become a different, better Muslim? Okay. On average, 2 million people go every year. 1983, they were the highest 3.5 million. But last year, reached almost this. So that means over the last 20 years, about 40 million people went for Hajj, right? If they went for the same reason that we want to go for, to be a different and better Muslim, how many people can you count that went for Hajj actually achieved this? If I asked you, how many people do you know that went for Hajj that came back and were a better person? A better Muslim? You have to think really hard, don't you? Why is it? What was the first ayah we read this morning? And perform Hajj properly. That's the key to it. So what's going to make you different, brothers? If this is how you are today, Hajj should actually transform. You should come out of the other side a better person. Now, can you become just a better person? Can you just by yourself just say, I'm going to be better tomorrow? No. You'll find that if you do the Hajj properly and you take the benefits from it, you'll come out on the other side a different and better person. A lot of people come out of the other side worse. Believe me, they come out worse. So, if I told you today, if you stay here until 5 o'clock, I'll give you $1 million. Is anybody going to leave? No. Because why? You're not interested in listening to me. You were thinking about the prize I'm going to give you. So when you go for Hajj, I want you to concentrate on the prize, brothers and sisters. And this is the prize. The Prophet ﷺ said, from one Umrah to the next is an atonement for any sins committed in between. And the reward for an accepted Hajj is nothing but Jannah. So I want you to concentrate on the prize. Jannah. What time did they make Qadha? 1:45? 1:45. Alright. Do you want to have a small break, or you want me to continue until then we have a break at Asr time?
Let's continue.
Continue. Alright, I'm going to there are 3 methods of Hajj. So you're going to do Hajj Tamattu. That means you're going to do Umrah, you're going to come out of Ihram, then you're going to adopt Ihram again for Hajj, and the sacrifice is compulsory. So you need to check in your project, in your group, whether the Hadi is included. Most of the groups now include the Hadi. Alright? So you have to give them your name, and we'll talk about when you're going to sacrifice. The Quran is Umrah and Hajj together with 1 niyah, Tawaf Qudum, Hadi is compulsory as well, and Ifrad. That's just so that you know there are 3 types. Every single 1 year is Tamattu. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be Tamattu. So there's argument about if I go to Makkah, perform Umrah, go to Medina, is my Umrah still valid, not valid, all of that. You are Tamattu. So you have to pay the sacrifice. If you're trying to avoid the sacrifice, you can't get out of it. That's the Ihram. So the Miqat is actually the boundaries. It's like a border. Prophet ﷺ said, do not go past these boundaries if you have intention for Umrah or Hajj without being in the state of Ihram. Who's going to Medina first? Well, if you're going to Medina, if you're going to Makkah first, you must be in ihram before you land in Jeddah. And the miqat is 10-15 minutes before we land in Jeddah. That's how close it is. So people panic, they put on their ihram in Malaysia or in Dubai. Dubai is not too bad, but in Malaysia, which is another 7 hours on the flight, right? They put on ihram. You can put your ihram on in the airplane, it's fairly easy. And as I said to people, look, as soon as you see I'm in ihram and you're not in ihram yet, then panic. Because I normally go very last to make sure that everybody's in ihram. And it's fairly easy to put the ihram on, just practice at home to put it on the airplane. But if you're going to Medina first, it's no drama because you'll go from Medina in your ihram. The intention for Hajj is very simple. And for Umrah is very simple. Labbaik Allahumma Umrah and Labbaik Allahumma Hajj. That's the intention.
Just backtracking one. There's different people you speak to give you some different responses. That if you're flying into Medina but you're crossing what's considered the boundary of Makkah, that you should still adopt your ihram at that point.
Okay, the rule is basically, if you're going to Makkah with the intention of Umrah or Hajj, you must enter in the state of ihram.
So before you arrive in Makkah, not just if you cross the...
No, before you arrive the boundary, okay?
Right.
If you're going to Makkah, your intention is to go to Makkah, to perform Umrah or Hajj, and you have to be in ihram. Now, if you didn't, you landed in Jeddah without ihram, but you're going to Makkah. So you have a choice. One, you can go back to the miqat and put on your ihram and then go to Makkah, or you can pay the fidya and then continue. So for the guys going to Medina, they basically technically violated the rule, but they're going back. See, you're going back out now again, and then you're coming in through the ihram. Because your intention wasn't going to go to Makkah anyway.
It was to go straight to Medina.
Was to go to Medina. But you're going past the miqat. But you're not going to Makkah. You're actually planning to go to Medina. Now let's say you landed in Jeddah and your plan was to go to Medina, but somehow things got mixed up and they say, no, you can't go to Medina now, you need to go to Makkah. What happens then? Or you can put on your ihram and pay the fidya, or you can, some say you can just continue on because it wasn't your fault. You didn't intentionally do it. But if you want to cover yourself, you put the ihram on and you just pay the fidya for violating the miqat rule.
So if you're flying into Medina first and you're only going to Makkah just before that, you'd only adopt your ihram at the point when you're traveling from Medina.
Yes. And still, some people will say we're going to do ifrad to avoid the paying of the thing. So the best thing to do is, because you are supposed to go to Makkah first to perform Umrah, or even Tawaf al-Qudum. So the minimum you can do is Qiran. Right? So from Medina, if you're going just before Hajj, you go straight to Makkah to perform Tawaf al-Qudum and Sa'i, and then you go to Mina. And then the Talbiyah, brothers and sisters, do you know what the Talbiyah is?
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. So the Prophet, Allah Ta'ala ordered the Prophet Ibrahim to invite us to come for Hajj. Right? So I'm saying to the brother, I'm inviting you to my house tonight for iftar. So when he comes, he says, Brother Ismail, Assalamu alaikum, I am here. This is what the Talbiyah is. You say to Allah, here I am, Allah. You asked me to come, I've come. So labbaik means, in Arabic it says like, you don't say here I am if your grandfather or somebody senior, somebody of high respect calls you. You don't say, I'm here. They say labbaik. Here I am. It's a respectful way of saying, here I am. So you're saying to Allah, Allah, you called me, here I am. So that's why there's no sense in saying labbaik and you're standing with a cigarette, labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, labbaik. You're not allowed to smoke in the state of ihram anyway. There's absolutely no doubt. Even the kuffar tells us that it's haram. So you have no partner, here I am. Surely all praise, grace and dominion are yours, and you have no partner. So that's the meaning of the Talbiyah. So recite it all the time. So the rules of the ihram. Men must not wear clothes that are tailored to fit the parts of the human body. For example, trousers, jackets, shirts, etc. So if I put on the cloth, if it gets torn on the side, can I sew it up? No? No sewing? Okay, now I've got the ihram on. Normally I have a demonstration. If I cut it right at the back here, now remember, no underwear, guys. Can I sew it up? So, no? You can change it, huh? Alright. The rule is very simple. It's got nothing to do with sewing. Yes, you can sew it up. The rule has got nothing to do with stitches at all. It is to do with forming a fitted garment. So in order to make a fitted garment, you have to sew it to a fitted garment. So it is not the sewing that's the issue, it is the garment, the fitted, the end result of it. So Prophet ﷺ do not wear tailored like shirts or trousers. So it's not the sewing that's the issue. It is the fact that if you take the cloth and even use the velcros or the clips to make a fitted garment out of it, that's not allowed. So it is not the sewing. You can sew as much as you like. It's the fitted part that is the issue. And people have velcros and stuff and they make a fitted jumper out of it. Is the belt, you can wear the belt to keep up your yes, it's allowed. Yeah. Because it's not stitches. It's got nothing to do with stitches. And the sandal, there is only one rule about the shoe. It must not cover your ankle. It doesn't have to be plastic. In the time of Rasulullah, they didn't have plastic. It must not cover your ankle. That's the only rule. No headgear and no underwear. So remember, brothers, those who are going to Makkah first in the aeroplane, don't forget to take off your underwear. Sisters, remind your husband when he comes back, sit down in the plane, says, underwear, dear. So a lot of time you see the guys getting up again, going back. So when you put on the ihram clothes, you need to learn how to put it on. And I can demonstrate for you if you have time. Make sure you can move your feet, and make sure you can walk, and you can bend down. And once you have your ihram on, your underwear is off, you need to learn to sit like a lady. Alright, so you need to learn how to sit, because you can't sit with your legs up and stretch yourself out of it, because no underwear, guys. So think about it, because not often we have that freedom. Alright, so you're not allowed to cover your head with the kufiya or anything like that. Okay, women, they wear their normal Islamic clothes. They're not allowed to wear gloves or a niqab or a burqa. Can somebody tell them it's not a burqa? It's a niqab? The Australian media, that's what I mean. Alright, so you're not allowed to wear a niqab, but you can cover your face if you want to. But you're not allowed to wear a niqab. So that you can cover your face with this. If the sister normally wears a niqab, she can still cover her face. And it's got nothing to do with touching her face. She doesn't have to wear this hat for the thing to go. It's got nothing to do with touching the face. It is the eye thing, the niqab. That's what's not allowed. So don't do funny things. You're not allowed to put on perfume. You're not allowed to cut your nails. You're not allowed to cut your hair. You're not allowed to get married. Give someone in marriage. Propose for marriage. Alright, brother, you're not married, so don't worry about it during Hajj. You're not allowed to have any relations with your wife. There is only one penalty during Hajj. Actual penalty. Right? And that is you are in the state of ihram during Hajj and you have relations with your wife, your Hajj is invalid. Gone. It's actually gone. And you have to continue and redo your Hajj. So that's why the separate accommodation is good in Azizia and Mina, because you're in ihram at that time. So it's good for your wife to be away from you. You're not allowed to hunt, and you're not allowed to argue, smoke, and all acts of disobedience while you're in the state of ihram. You're not allowed to get involved with idle talk, disputes, fights, arguments, and quarrels when you're in the state of ihram. It is like when you're in salah. Imagine you're in salah. When we're standing in salah, are we allowed to eat, talk, drink, look around? So there's restrictions on us, right? So we obey that. When you're in the state of ihram, it's a spiritual state. You're not allowed, you are supposed to behave in a particular way and do certain things. You're not allowed to do the things you normally do. Normally you put on perfume, normally you have relations with your wife, normally you're not allowed to do any of those things that you normally do. Because you are in a spiritual state of ihram. For the sisters it's easy because the sisters, they don't have special clothes specifically for the ihram. So what is allowed? Yes, you're allowed to wear sunglasses, eyeglasses, hearing aid, money belt. You're allowed to wear a belt. You can change the ihram clothes. You can have a shower. Some people don't even shower. You are allowed to shower, but you don't wash your hair and shampoo your hair and rub your hair like you normally do. You just rinse yourself off. Whatever falls out naturally, that's allowed. That's normal. And if you're going to brush your hair, you don't brush your hair like like you brush when the hair comes out, all of that. You don't do that while you're in the state of ihram. But you can shower.
But sometimes, if the hair becomes very fragile, sometimes...
It's alright. It's fine. Anything that happens naturally is allowed.
How about the brushing?
Toothbrush is allowed.
You mean wash the hair allowed, but don't
Yeah.
wash it properly? Just
Yep.
soap.
If you think about it, if you think about it, let's just go to the ladies for a moment. If the lady has a menstruation, right? She still has to go into the state of ihram. So let's take a scenario. In Medina, she has a menstruation. We're going to Makkah now. So when we get to Dhul Hulayfa in the Miqat, everybody goes into ihram, including the sisters. So you make an intention, you go into ihram. So she's in ihram now, right? When she has to make a ghusl to come out of menstruation, what does she have to do? She has to wash her hair and all of that stuff, right? So then she comes out of menstruation, but she's still in the state of ihram. So you are allowed to shower and do all of those things. You are allowed to change your ihram clothes as well. What puts you in the state of ihram is the intention. What takes you out of the state of ihram is cutting your hair. So taking off the clothes doesn't take you out of the state of ihram. Cutting your hair takes you out of the state of ihram. Going, like if I put the clothes on now, and I don't make my intention, I'm not in the state of ihram. I just have the clothes on. But once you've got the clothes on and you've made your intention, you're now in the state of ihram. You are in that state until you cut your hair. Then you're out of that state. But in between that, you can shower, change your ihram clothes, and all of that. You can cut somebody else's hair. So sometimes people actually say you're not allowed to cut somebody else's hair. It is actually an act of ibadah when it comes to the point of cutting your hair. Let's take the analogy of salah again. In the salah, can I look like this? If I'm in salah, can I do this? But when I'm at the end of salah, can I do this? That's what I do, right? Because that's the point where I'm allowed to do that, because that's actually an act of ibadah. Same with cutting of the hair. Whilst you're in the state of ihram, you're not allowed to cut your hair. You shouldn't cut. You can cut somebody else's hair. Like say you're a barber. Let's say you're a barber. That's your job. You can cut people's hair. That's not in ihram. You can cut. But when it gets to the point where we all have to cut our hair now, we can cut each other's hair, because we're now at the point where we cut each other's hair. Imagine if we all go for Hajj and we're all in ihram and we can't cut each other's hair. What are we going to do? What's going to happen to us? We're all going to stay in ihram because we're going to have to wait and go round. So you are allowed to cut each other's hair. You can use an umbrella, and you can be in the building. You can cover your body with a blanket while sleeping, but you're not allowed to cover your head. You can cover your feet, but you can't cover your head. So you don't have to cut the bottom of your sleeping bag. You think it's funny, but when you see the stuff, you'll say, oh, he wasn't joking. People actually cut the bottom of the sleeping bag so the feet can come out. You can't cover the bottom of your feet. Or let me just quickly show you some of the areas in Makkah. There's the Hijr, the Maqam Ibrahim, the Black Stone, and this area I wanted to show you. This is the Zamzam well area, which was closed since 2004. So this is gone, so you can't see the well anymore. Alright? So the Zamzam is now on the side of the mosque. Alright. Can somebody just tell me when they make adhan? They need the mic, right? They got one? Alright. So, tawaf. What is tawaf? Tawaf is actually, when we say we're going to make tawaf, it means 7 times. So let's make tawaf, it means 7 times. It doesn't mean one. One circle, one circumambulation. So you start here at this line. This line has been removed. The line is not there anymore. Before, when the line was there, people would come and they would look at the line like this. They would go. And it would back up the traffic behind them and all go like this. And they stand on the line and they go kissing and do all sorts of funny things. So they've removed the line. There's no more line. So you just come in the direction of the line or the starting point, and you say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and then you start and you walk away around anti-clockwise. For the doctors, it's a good opportunity to read the benefits of walking anti-clockwise and the benefits of the heart. Have you read it? Go and read the benefits of circulation on your heart of walking in an anti-clockwise direction. So we walk around, and then when we come here to the Yamani corner, if we can touch it, we just touch it. And then in between from there to there is where we say, read Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya Hasana wa Fil Akhirati Hasana wa Qina Adhaban Nar. This is where we read this dua. I was just thinking, like for those who've been on Hajj before, or have you ever visited people who've been for Hajj? Isn't it, that's all they talk about? Like you visit them and then you visit for dinner and that's all they talk about, and you question, is that all they can talk about? Wait till you go. Right? Wait till you go. When you come back, that's all you're going to talk about. You'll turn any conversation into Hajj. Whatever they talk about cars, you talk about, I saw this beautiful car in Hajj. So there was this time the brothers were sitting there and they were people trying to brag, and people always have a better story. There's always somebody with a better story during Hajj. So there was this old guy who was sitting with all of these young guys. And these young guys, each one had a better story than the other. And the old guy was trying to think, man, how can he, outdo these guys? And the one guy has a good story, and the other guy's story is better. And it was the old man's turn. He said, when we went for Hajj, it was in Ramadan, and we were fasting, and it was very, very difficult. Get it?